Welcome, Mary. Thanks for coming to speak to us on the Resilient Hustler.
No problem.
Just for the benefit of our viewers, do you want to give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and your background?
Yeah, so I've been working with this business since 2016, I think it was. Previous to that, I had a couple of years with a debt charity called Step Change. But previous to that, I had 25 years with HSBC doing a variety of roles.
Well, so tell us about the business. What's the business name that you do now?
So the business is Dress Up Limited, and we started off and still do novelty aprons. So aprons where you've got the body of a gladiator or a Greek goddess or something like that. They're just cheeky presents, stocking fillers really.
Yeah.
So that's where the name Dress Up came. But then when we started doing other things like T-shirts, I thought that's still okay. We can keep that name. But then we started doing deck chairs.
Okay.
So, and my partner Robert was saying, well, we've got to change the name of the business now. But I said, well, no, because you're still dressing up your garden.
Yeah.
So we've kept it.
Yeah, good. So just going back 25 years with HSBC and debt recovery and now Dress Up.
Yes.
I mean, there's a jump and then there's a jump. What happened there?
Yeah, I like to say I've gone from bank manager to market trader. But it's not a bad thing.
No.
So I took redundancy from HSBC in 2013, and it was a great deal. I was only 51, and I could still take my final salary pension. So it was a no-brainer to me, which meant I could get a much easier job, a nice 9-to-5 job where I could put my pen down at the end of the day and just go home and not worry about work. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I for a debt charity. So it was my partner jokes I was helping people pay the loans back that I'd lent them in the first place when I worked at HSBC, but obviously that wasn't true. So I did that, and then I had a bit of a to-do-ment with my line manager.
Right.
And for the first time in my working years, I came home and cried, and I thought, I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
I don't need to work somewhere that makes me cry.
Yeah.
So, and it was just a clash of personalities. It wasn't, anything other than that. So Robert, my partner, said, come and work with me. And he just made it sound so easy. So I handed my notice in and went to work with him. And that was blowing a nightmare to start with.
How is it a nightmare to start with? It's just because you know each other so well.
It wasn't the fact that you with each other for 24/7, because I mean at the end of the day we get on really well.
Yeah.
But he used to run his own business and he had about 35 staff.
Right.
And he was always used to telling people, I want you to do that, I want you to do that, and I want you to do that. And he just kind of make sure, without getting into depth, everything was ticking over nicely. But he started this new business on his own because the other one went to the wall. And then I came in, and because of my experience, I was saying to him, why are you doing it this way? Why don't you do it this way? And he didn't like that.
No.
So that was a clash then. And we've got different attitudes to money as well. So I like to make sure we've got money in the bank before we go off and buy something. And Robert will say, don't worry, we'll have money in the bank by the time we need to come to pay for that. But I don't like the uncertainty. So we clash over that as well.
You're risk averse, he's a risk taker.
Absolutely. Yeah, he likes to fly by the seat of his pants.
So I can imagine he felt quite like you were coming in, and that resistance of taking things over or telling them how he should be doing something, and he's been doing it for so long and stuff.
Yes, yeah. So he found that, I think he thought I was an upstart. But at first he was like patting me on the head and saying, there, don't you worry about this. I'll sort this out.
That went down well.
Oh, no. Well, so, it's got better over time, but we still have our moments where I think we should do it this way and he thinks we should do it that way.
Yeah, I guess the benefits of when you know each other so well is that you can have that brutally honest conversation.
Absolutely.
Thrash things out. So you get to the end quite quickly.
Yeah.
There's no politics being played. There's no.
I don't have to worry about my next promotion or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Neither does he.
Yeah. He just has to worry about his life.
He just has to worry whether I'm going to poison him at tea time or not.
So then you were doing aprons and you were doing t-shirts. How did the deck chairs come into it?
Well, Robert got this license from a company called Radio Days, I think it was. And it was to, you know, the old movie posters,
Yeah.
like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Yeah.
And Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So we got some of these, and there was some of Jimi Hendrix as well. And he said, should we put these on towels? And I said, oh, no. I said, that'd look tacky. He goes off, didn't fight with me over that. Then he came back and he said, what about deck chairs? And again, I said, oh, no. But then my favourite painting is The Kiss by Gustav Klimt.
Okay.
He went and got a deck chair made for me with that print on it. Came home and said, what do you think now? And I thought, oh, that looks... So we started off with 4 designs, like classics, like the Mona Lisa, a Van Gogh, Girl with a Pearl Earring and The Kiss. And we took them to the Spring Fair at the NEC. They do it every year. It's an international trade show.
Okay.
We weren't selling them. We were just getting
Feedback kind of.
feedback from and you know, everybody loved them. So then we started buying the deck chairs properly and doing. And now we've got about 45 different designs. But I thought we should stop there. Sometimes too much choices.
Yeah.
You can't make a decision, can you?
Yeah, it's true.
And we've done deck chairs for Leeds United. So we did some for them. A company called Joe Brown that's local to Leeds, but they're nationwide really, but they're based in Leeds.
Yes.
Some good hotels, Grantley Hall, we did some deck chairs for them. So and the British Tank Museum. So we've got some little feathers in our camp.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that I mean, I guess a happy accident kind of thing.
Well, yeah, a happy accident. That's right.
So is the deck chairs now the main seller?
Yeah, so that's our main source of income,
Okay.
the deck chairs. But the thing with that is it's seasonal. So obviously throughout the summer we do various shows and people buy online as well when they've met us at shows. But during the winter, we do T-shirts for a couple of catalogues. So we pick and pack for them. Right. So we've got the summer stuff and the winter. I mean, T-shirts are summer really, but for some reason they seem to sell a lot over Christmas.
Yeah, I guess with T-shirts, it's stuff you can easily kind of wear under
an extra layer. Yeah.
And when you go inside, you take it off because winter or summer, I'll always be wearing T-shirts anyway. So I guess it's one of those items of clothing that will never. There's no kind of seasonal thing really. So how do you market then? How do you get your name out there?
So we do a couple of trade fairs. The NEC, which I've already mentioned. Yeah. We did one in Paris earlier this year.
Wow.
It didn't go well for us.
Oh, right. What from Paris, and what made you think?
Well, in COVID was 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did it in January 2020, and we came away from that show with armfuls of orders because they'd never seen anything like.
Right.
So it was the deck chairs only that we did.
Right.
And then COVID struck, and 80% of the people who gave us orders cancelled their orders because there were cafes, they were shut, everybody shut. So we were sitting there with these orders. But then when we came out of COVID, they all ordered again. So it wasn't the end of the world. But then since then, the price of transport has gone up. And with Brexit as well, that's affected us, the cost of the customs clearance.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd go back and just try and see what the interest was. And there was interest, but the cost of the carriage from the UK to Europe is it doesn't make it worth that.
Yeah. That's a shame. Was that always part of the plan to kind of break into Europe, or was this just kind of back in January 2020, was just a test to see if Europe was an option?
Yeah, so it was a test to see if Europe was an option, and it seemed like it was a really good option. But as I say, the cost of transport just went astronomical, didn't it? So it's not an option any longer. We did think of getting the deck chairs shipped directly to a distributor in Europe.
Yeah.
So he could then send them out for us. But the profit margin for us would have shrunk so much. I thought it wouldn't have been worth it. And also, I wasn't comfortable with somebody else being in control of my stock.
Yeah.
So it's, I like to know what I'm doing. I like to know exactly what's going on. Yeah, my daughter says I'm a control freak, but I just like to know what's happening.
I mean, I guess when you're running your own business, there has to be an element of being a control freak.
There has to be. I mean, when I worked for HSBC, if something didn't go right, there was always somebody else I could go to say, can you help me with this? Now it's me. Yeah, the bus stops with me. Yeah, so I like to catch it before it falls out of bed.
Yeah.
It's it's a completely different mindset.
So the risk averse of you, side of you.
Exactly. So I need to know so that I'm prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
it says? Sorry.
What about future plans?
No. So Robert, my other half, he never wants to retire. He always wants to work.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to the stage now where I'm thinking, I don't want to be working all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy the rest of my life while I've still got my health.
Mm-hmm.
So
fair enough.
That's my future. Come away.
So have you not got
sail off into the sunset?
a stage plan to?
There's no exit strategy. We talk about selling off bit by bit, and ideally, I would like to, as a compromise, I would be happy to sell all the stock of the aprons that we've still got,
Right.
and just do the deck chairs in the summer. And then I'm not working 12 months in the year. We're not doing the T-shirts either.
Yeah.
Just do the deck chairs in the summer when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that'll be, that'll keep you going, won't it? Keep your mind going. And
yeah, I think, a certain kind of, for a few months of the year working, and then that used to be kind of my kind of idea of find a job where I could work for a few months of the year and then travel for a few months.
Exactly, yeah.
Here for a few months of the year.
Yeah.
And just keep going in that circle. But whether or not that comes about, I don't know. But so what do you enjoy most then about what you do now?
I would say the freedom. I like the freedom to start work when I like to a certain extent. If there's an emergency with my grandchildren or something, I can just go. Robert will, pick up the slack. And it was really useful a few years ago when my dad died and my mum had dementia, and me and my sister looked after her in her own house. And we did like 24-hour shifts. So I'd stay with her for 24 hours, stay overnight, obviously. Then my sister would come, I'd come back to my work here for 24 hours. Then so we did that for about a year, but then for me, it wasn't sustainable.
No.
Because I couldn't stay away from the business that long. And then my mum went into a home. So that freedom is important.
Yeah.
But you need, it can't be just you in the business for you to do that. There has to be somebody else with you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would say to anyone who was thinking of starting up a business, try and run it alongside your current employment.
Yeah.
So so you've got a constant source of income, rather than you packing it all in and then you're rooting around for money. And you lose so many benefits if you become self-employed as well. If you're starting up your own business, you can get them, but you'd have to pay for them, obviously. But you've got so many benefits, such as your pension as well with your employer, and sick pay.
Yeah.
Holidays. You don't necessarily take all your holidays when you're self-employed. You take your holidays when you can. So.
And I guess when you're self-employed, the holidays you do take, you still can't switch off.
Well, yeah. And you still leave your phone on so you can take calls. And you do that when you're employed, I know, by somebody else. But it's, you can't say, oh, I'm on holiday.
Yeah.
You deal with it.
There's no out of office really goes on.
No. You're still checking your emails every day. So.
Yeah. So when you go back, if you were to go back, I guess when the business was first starting up, I guess your husband started it up.
Yeah, so he set it up probably 3 or 4 years before I joined him. And
If you could go back to when he was starting it up and know what you know now and when you kind of jumped in to help, is there anything at that point you would have changed or stayed or been part of to change things?
I would say to him, do more market research.
He's watching, right?
Do more market research. Don't just assume because you like these styles, somebody's going to buy them.
Yeah.
So, Roberts, going back to the aprons now, we must have about 150 different styles of aprons. So when certain ones didn't sell, he'd just design new ones.
Right. Instead of concentrating.
Yeah. So, or saying to people, what do you think of these? What do you think of these styles? Just, I would get opinion from other people, but when you're very confident like he is, your way is the right way. So don't always assume that you're right.
Yeah.
Take advice from others.
Do you have a strategy for that kind of backlog of product?
It depends who you speak to.
All right.
If you speak to me, I want to sell them off as stock lots.
Okay.
So you can sell them really cheaply. Not what you paid for them. You're going to have to take a hit on it. But the way I look at it, we're paying for storage. So why continue paying month on month storage when you can get rid of that in one fell swoop? And no, you might not get your money back that you paid for it, but
you're stopping.
You've got to
just costs.
Yeah, you've got to be sensible about it.
So was this strategy to buy in bulk because it was cheaper up front kind of thing?
Yeah, so if you buy directly from the manufacturer, so we buy the aprons in bulk from China.
Right.
So if you buy from overseas, it's a lot cheaper than because you're the next person in the loop then, aren't you? I could go to somebody in the UK and say, can I buy those aprons from you, who's already imported them?
Right.
I could go to a wholesaler and pay much more than I'm paying from China, which means I then have to sell them for a higher price to my customers.
And it's less competitive for you.
Yes.
And so I guess with all these multiple designs and stuff now, and now with the backlog of, I guess the lot of stock that you're holding on to, have you changed the way you produce products now to avoid the stock buildup that's not selling so well? Or
so we only order aprons now for the ones that we know people want.
Right. Okay.
So we've got some. So I've ordered now recently some aprons from China that I know will be. I've got an order for to go out in October. So I'll only order them when I know somebody's going to buy them. Not order them and hold them and hope I can sell them on eBay or hope I can find a new customer at the spring fair. That it doesn't make sense to me. That.
So you sell everything kind of mainly online? Is that where you mainly get your sales from?
Online and also at the exhibitions we do, such as the Ideal Homes show. So we'll do that, and that's a 17-day long one.
Right. Okay.
So without any days off. So that's a long one. But so we sell online, we sell at exhibitions, and we have some garden centres we supply to, and small retailers that we supply to as well.
So out of online and the trade show, which do you prefer to be more involved with?
Online's easy. It's straightforward, and nobody tries to offer you a different price or
no hacking.
There's no exactly. Yeah, so that's great. But I like doing the trade shows as well because I like getting the feedback face to face from customers. And somebody comes past and says, "Oh, those pictures are gorgeous." I feel proud of them.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that interaction. Because I suppose it goes back to HSBC days. I speak to loads of people in one day. And now I'll come into the warehouse and I'll speak to maybe 2 or 3 people, not necessarily about the business, but and I like interaction with. I must be a talker, mustn't I?
Well, that's, people buy from people, don't they? So it's important that you can engage with your customers, because if you can't, then all they're seeing is just the product, and yeah, sometimes the context and people like to get to know that the people they're buying from are good people and that they have good values. And I think values are important to a lot of buyers, that the products are quality and that kind of stuff, and that they always feel like they can come back to you if they want to ask more questions and that kind of thing. So I guess with somebody online sees something, immediately are a bit unsure, but they'll go away, and sometimes they just forget to come back, but they'll always remember a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
So it's always, I think, the personal aspect of a business is always really quite important. So in the last years that you've been working there, have you had any regrets in your change and from what you were doing to what you do now?
From HSBC, you mean? No, I don't regret. The only thing I miss is the people, I suppose. And when you were on a project together, a big one,
Yeah.
and it all came good, that was nice. And the rewards we used to get as well. So, sometimes we'd get taken out to a day at the races, or...
This is a hint.
So, and now you've just got to reward yourself. So...
Sometimes that could be better though.
Well,
Then you set the budget.
Exactly.
So when you're looking at marketing and that kind of stuff, do you spend time planning your marketing strategies and that kind of thing?
No, and that's a bad thing.
Okay.
And maybe you can help me there in that. But no, we don't have that's a regret I have though. I think when I came into the business, I went to see somebody about setting up a website. And I went to see this lady who was really professional, but the cost was more than I wanted to pay. So we went with a cheaper person, but it's not the website's not great, and we don't do any marketing. So the only way we market ourselves is by going to these shows, giving out leaflets, giving out business cards, and by word of mouth, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something I think you should really set a budget for.
Yeah.
Because especially in this day and age where everything's, you're mad not to, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And how much time would you say you divide up between business planning and actually hands-on doing the business, like doing the selling kind of thing?
Oh, I would say it's 40% planning and 60% doing it.
Yeah. Do you do it weekly or do you do it monthly kind of thing?
I would say I do it monthly. So you kind of know when the exhibitions are coming up, when the shows are coming up. You kind of know who your customers are going to be with regards to the T-shirts. So you know when you need to start getting the orders in for them, or if they want new designs, you need to tell me by X date because I need to get this order off to so-and-so, or if they want a new design on a deck chair, you've got to give them realistic lead times. So the printer we use at the moment for the deck chairs is in Poland.
Right.
And I can't speak to him other than by email. But his English is perfect on paper, but he says he's not happy speaking.
Uh-huh.
So I'll email him, send him the designs, but that whole thing can take about 8 weeks before I get the piece of cloth to show somebody their own design on. Then they've got to make it up, and then it's got to be sent to us. So that kind of planning takes a long time, and people aren't always realistic with the timescales. They'll want it tomorrow, or they'll want it in 3 weeks' time, and I can't do that. And we can lose a sale because of that.
Yeah.
But...
And do you see that as it is what it is, or are you trying to kind of change that, or is it?
No, almost every trade show we go to, every exhibition, there's always somebody who comes to me and says, "Oh, I'm a printer. We could do these for you." And I'll send them and I want somebody based in the UK because that's going to take out so much of a pain for me.
Yeah.
But so far, I can't find anyone who can print the quality and the quality of the fabric as well as the Polish people.
Interesting.
So, and the Polish people are cheaper. Even taking the
customs
and the transport into account, Poland are cheaper than any of the printers I found in the UK. I mean, I've not spoken to every single one, obviously, but yeah, it's unbelievable almost, isn't it, that they can't do it in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a challenge for somebody watching and who works for printers. So what do you think that is? Do you think the printing companies in this country are also importing their products, so they're having to mark up, or?
There must be an element to that. I mean, I'm sure Poland have to import theirs, but I don't know if places like Poland have. So we've got minimum wage here, haven't we? I don't know if Poland have got that. Which then, now I've said that out loud, makes me sound as I'm exploiting people, doesn't it? But there must be a reason why. I mean, I don't know if they're worth it.
No, they're not, honestly.
But there must be a really obvious reason why. Maybe the cost of living in Poland is a lot lower than the cost of living in Spain.
Potentially, yeah. So I guess the printers in Poland supply the material as well. So
so they supply the material, they sew it, and they print it. So I have found a printer in Wetherby, who will do the printing, but he can't sew. And I've got some fabric that he uses, but he prints from an image, so I have to send him a photograph and it's not. You're going to laugh at this now, that you probably know. There's no such colour as white, is there? It's a shade, apparently. So the printers in Wetherby can't print anything that's got white on it, but Poland can.
Okay.
Well, that's what it tells me. It's not a colour, it's a shade. We can't do it. So.
Okay,
And he does laser printing. So. Okay, is it No, it's sublimation printing. Sublimation printing. So.
Well, there you go. Who knew?
Who knew?
So have you had any thoughts about any other businesses, or is this enough?
Oh, this is enough. This is enough. No. If I did anything else, I'd want to do something that was it sounds trite this now, but it's something that I would be putting something back in. So I would love to go into a school and help kids learn to read. Right. You know, like I don't know, classroom assistant.
Yeah.
And as a volunteer, I wouldn't want to. I quite like the idea of going somewhere and litter picking, but somewhere nice, like the seaside.
I mean, this seaside in the south where the sun, so it has to be a nice day.
A nice day.
Little pick for 30 minutes and then.
Oh no, a bit longer than 35. No, but do you know what I mean? Just something that's a bit the way you feel you're contributing.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be making teas and coffee then. That's boring.
So you want to do something for the community, but you want to.
I'm picky out.
You want to really take you in it. Okay. If anyone needs anyone to volunteer for them, can pick and choose what they want to do. So you've had it. You've had it, the jump over, and you're now working with your husband. Has your husband got any kind of plans that he's talked through with you? Has he talked through any that you vetoed?
I veto them all. I veto them all because I'm slowly trying to wind things down, and he's not interested in winding down. He wants to carry on. So he went to China in October for 3 weeks, and then he went again in April for 2 weeks. Oh, I don't know if any of you know, but if you want to go overseas, you can get these funded. You can get a grant from certain organisations that will pay for your flights and your hotel for you to go visit a trade show in China or Hong Kong. So if you speak to the Department of Trade or your local Chamber of Commerce, they should know something about it.
Yeah.
So his last trip in April, it was all funded by some organisation in China who want people from the UK to come and see the products and buy the
That's good to know.
back. Yeah.
Do you apply for grants regularly? Or have you?
It, I've got a contact at the DTI that if I want to do something, I'll email him and say,
Give us some money.
can you help me with this? Do you know of anything? Anybody who could help me with this?
And what's the DTI?
Department of Trade and Industry. I don't know if they still call that anymore, but
Okay.
but they've got a section that's international trade as well. So, but first of all, you've got to find, if you're starting up your business, you need to find your market in the UK first, really, I guess, don't you, rather than branch out. But this, if you're going to go big and you want to import the product yourself, that there's nearly always somebody who can help you a little bit.
So you mentioned your husband's not willing, that he's kind of not winding down, and you are. Can you have you got any kind of ideas of ways that you're going to get him to wind down? I mean, where's that ultimately going to lead to if he's not going to wind down?
In my head, it's going to lead to him being in the business on his own.
Right.
But because he hates admin.
Right. As a lot of people do.
I'll feel obliged to help him, but don't tell him that. I don't want to. I don't want to do admin.
Yeah.
I hate reading the T's and C's, but you have to, don't you?
Yeah, true. Well, I think I've only got one thing left to ask, and that's how do people find you? How do they find their deck chairs? What's the website address?
So the website is dressupltd.com. So you can find all our products on there, and if my contact number's on there as well. So if you want to ask me about any of our products, ring me or email me.
Well, all I can say is thank you very much for joining me, Mary. And it's been great to talk to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Best of luck with all the future trade shows. And
Thank you.
best of luck with the wind down.
Thank you.